Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I appreciate all of you hanging out with me as we roll through the Tuesday edition of the program. It is election night 2021. We'll see if there's any major outcomes. I'll get to that in a moment. First, I want to tell you, get your bets in Louisiana. You're about to be live. FanDuel.com/Clay. Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, Colorado, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, New Jersey, Tennessee, Michigan, Virginia, Connecticut, Louisiana, all those different states I just ran through. You can get up to $1,000 no-risk first wager. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Clay. That is FanDuel.com/Clay. I will have my gambling picks up tomorrow. My NFL six-pack, as well as the Outkick college football gambling picks, which have been taking a lot of big hits here of late. All right, we got a couple of things that I think are pretty significant to talk about, and we start with really bad news going on in Las Vegas, where wide receiver Henry Ruggs III, who is a recent Alabama draft pick, has been involved, and I'm reading from Wire reports, in a fiery car crash early this morning, killed one person, and will be resulting in Ruggs being charged with a DUI resulting in death. According to the Las Vegas Police Department, they responded to a traffic collision involving a Chevrolet Corvette and a Toyota RAV4. Responding officers located the Toyota on fire. Fire department personnel found a deceased woman inside the Toyota. Preliminary investigation indicates the front of the Chevrolet, the Corvette, collided with the rear of the Toyota RAV4. Driver of the Chevrolet Corvette, 22-year-old Henry Ruggs III, remained on scene. I'm reading from the police release, and showed signs of impairment. He will be charged with DUI resulting in death. There was and is a 2 to 20 year charges of imprisonment relating to those charges. So, Raiders were on their bye week. They had an off day Tuesday. This is often a very difficult case to investigate, everything else, but this obviously is a massive, awful story involving a 22-year-old Henry Ruggs III Corvette crashing into a RAV4, killing a woman, and Ruggs facing now DUI resulting in death charges that could put him in prison for 2 to 20 years. Unfortunately, there have been a lot of different NFL players involved in vehicular manslaughter-ish cases. A bunch of them went to the University of Tennessee. Dante Stallworth for Leonard Little, and also Dwayne Goodrich, among others. Henry Ruggs, massive, awful story out of Las Vegas. I just want to emphasize to everybody out there, I try to do it. I encourage you guys to do it. Take an Uber. Just take an Uber. If you think you have had too much to drink, take an Uber. I try to do it. I know that everybody out there is aware of the dangers of drunk driving. We don't know any of the details here. But DUI death, Henry Ruggs, 22-year-old, his entire career at a high level stretching out in front of him, and he now may never play in the NFL again and may spend substantial amounts of time in prison before all is said and done. In this case, again, I always say reserve judgment until you see all the facts. I say that all the time with criminal charges, but it is worth keeping that in mind. So that story is out there. Big news in the world of voting, politics, elections. The race that is going on right now as we speak, Virginia, who's going to be the next governor of Virginia. Joe Biden won the state of Virginia by 10 points in 2020. Was not particularly close. Most recent polls have Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, reversing that 10-point loss for the Republicans and now surging potentially all the way to a win. This would represent potentially an 11 or a 12-point swing, Republican versus Democrat, and it would set off shockwaves throughout the American political process. Because if a blue/purple state is capable of flipping this aggressively to the Republican column, then in 2022, which is typically an midterm, which is always difficult for the party in power, Joe Biden has historically low approval ratings. If Glenn Youngkin wins this race, and I think he is going to win the race, the betting markets have now swung in his favor to pull off a massive upset just outside of Washington, D.C. I think this could have an impact on the infrastructure bill. I think this could have an impact on Biden's massive budget that he's trying to push through. And it's an early sign of what might happen in 2022, again, with this election potentially underway with a major swing. I encourage all of you in the state of Virginia and other places. New Jersey's got a governor's race. We got mayor races in New York City, Seattle, Minneapolis. Lots of different major issues on the ballot all over the country. But the one that I am circling and that I'm going to be paying attention to tonight is what goes on in Virginia. Glenn Youngkin, a win there would change everything. I want to tell you, by the way, about my friends at Pure Talk. They can hook you up and save the average family $800 a year. My 8th grade son has a Pure Talk phone. I have had these guys into my house. They have done a phenomenal job explaining why you need to make the switch to them. You get unlimited talk, text, 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. Unlimited talk, text, 6 gigs of data, just $30 a month. Get to keep your same phone number. You can keep your phone or you can get a new one. Right now they have iPhone 12s for just $479. 30-day risk-free guarantee. Nothing to lose at all. How do you sign up and join my family with Pure Talk? You can go to puretalk.com and shop for the plan and the phone that's right for you. Enter the code OUTKICK, the promo code OUTKICK, and you get 50% off your first month and save on a new phone. That's puretalk.com, promo code OUTKICK. Some restrictions apply. See site for details. Again, puretalk.com/OUTKICK. Put in that promo code and you can save yourself a bundle. We got Braves versus Astros. Game 6 tonight. And this is where I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that my 11-year-old has got me all back in on the Atlanta Braves and baseball and everything else, I am racked with nervousness. On behalf of the state of Georgia, on behalf of everyone who roots for the Braves since back in 1995 that has been let down, 3-1 series lead. On Halloween night, they hit a grand slam, Adam Duvall does, to give the Braves a 4-0 lead. They're big favorites to win Game 5 at home and close this out, win their 4th game at home. Now they go back on the road in Houston. Minute Maid Park is going to be electric tonight, and we will have to find out whether or not the Braves have the ability to get across the finish line and bring a World Series title back to Atlanta for the first time in 26 years. These games last forever. 4+ hours. I'm going to take a nap today because I want to be able to watch the election results come in and because I am planning to stay up for the Braves-Astros game tonight, and I hope I'm not going to need to stay up for it tomorrow. But Braves-Astros on the line. Max Fried, Braves fans need you to step up. I believe he's 24 years old and make a major statement for us. We had Ron DeSantis just now on the Clay and Buck Show, top of the 3rd hour of the program, just a little over an hour ago. You can go listen to that if you would like to. Great interview, really interesting discussion. I thought the most interesting part of the discussion with Ron DeSantis was, he said when he won the governor's race in 2018 in Florida, there were 280,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans in the state of Florida. The most recent numbers he has seen show now that the Democrat registered voter advantage is down to 3,000. Never in the state of Florida's history have there been more Republicans registered in the state than Democrats. Desantis says by the time next governor's election happens in 2022, that Republicans are going to have a massive advantage in overall registrations. Why is that happening? He attributed it to people moving into the state because it is an oasis of freedom in the midst of COVID restrictions everywhere else. And I want to reiterate, right now, Florida has the lowest rate of COVID anywhere in the country. Most media are not telling you that. The state of California, where everybody has been praising Newsom for his COVID vaccine mandates and for his mask mandates and everything else, has triple the rate of COVID right now as the state of Florida. New York has over double the rate as the state of Florida, despite the fact that Florida has no mask mandate and no COVID vaccine mandates allowed for any businesses in the state. It's a pretty significant data point that almost no one is actually talking about, but they should be, because it is massively significant. We don't know what's going to happen with Joe Biden's new budget. We don't know what's going to happen with infrastructure. What we do know is tax rates are likely going up. And we already know that inflation has skyrocketed, meaning there are a lot of people looking for a safe place to put their investment income, know that it's going to be able to be taken care of. And you know, farmland is one of the top performing asset classes out there anywhere. Plus, you get the tangible impact of actually owning land. A recent study predicts that there will be a 32% increase in the produce industry in the coming years. Get your piece of the proverbial pie today with a farmland specialist of Farmfolio. You can now purchase farmland. You know this? In your IRA or your 401k, they have democratized, Farmfolio has, the purpose of being able to buy farmland. Do you know farmland outperformed the major stock market indices for decades? If you missed the boat, don't miss the boat again. Farmfolio has created land ownership titles that allow you to own a piece of cash flowing from farmland, just like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, who have been buying up farmland globally. I have done it. You can do it as well. Go to farmfolio.net/clay. With inflation rising, stocks at all-time highs, you need to protect your assets now by buying your own piece of farmland today. Farmfolio.net/clay. Farmfolio, FARMFOLIO.net/clay to learn more about farmland ownership. I have done it. You can do it as well. Protect your assets at farmfolio.net/clay. Get hooked up today. That is farmfolio.net/clay. Even the people who defend Colin Kaepernick are starting to wonder what in the world has happened to this dude's brain. It is totally broken. I've seen a few of the clips from his Netflix special. We talked about Colin saying that the NFL Combine was the modern day equivalent of slavery. This is an organized, written documentary with a script. This is not like some college lecture where people are just talking off the cuff and sitting around coming up with Mad Libs Racism Edition. It's a written analysis where Colin Kaepernick tried to argue that NFL Combine performances was the modern day equivalent of slavery. That's despite the fact that it's an incredible honor to get invited to the Combine, and that white, black, Asian, and Hispanic athletes would absolutely crawl all over themselves to go to the Combine because it gives you an opportunity to make millions of dollars playing football, something that almost no one can make in their 20s, no matter what their profession is. So Kaepernick now has come after Steve Urkel and Carlton Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now, these are my wheelhouse shows. I was a kid growing up in the early 90s. I imagine that a lot of you have watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at some point, as well as Family Matters, okay? And so what's really interesting about this is the arguments are insane. Colin Kaepernick argues, and this is a direct quote, that both Urkel and Carlton are acceptable Negroes that only white people like. And first of all, this is a totally made up, ridiculous argument, because I can tell you, as a kid who went to a multiracial high school, Nashville Public Schools, everybody loved white, black, Asian, and Hispanic, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Everybody loved white, black, Asian, and Hispanic, Family Matters. Everybody loved Carlton. Everybody loved Urkel. And in particular, Will Smith was the star of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Carlton was his foil. That was his opposite. And they wanted to cover a wide variety of the spectrum of black life. And so they had a nerd. They had a conservative, awkward dancing Carlton. These people are real. They are obviously sitcom characters. But the idea that in some way Colin Kaepernick is going after Steve Urkel and Carlton over Family Matters and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, again, on a television show, this is a written critique. And even people who are defending Colin Kaepernick are looking around like, man, you are an imbecile. And anyone at this point who defended Colin Kaepernick has to feel like they were used, because this guy is a scam artist. Never before has any athlete that I'm aware of made tens of millions of dollars by lying and coming up with all sorts of stupid, ridiculous arguments that have no basis in reality. It's shameful that Netflix and Nike, among other corporations, Disney, have spent millions and millions of dollars in support of Colin Kaepernick, because what he is doing is destroying things that unite us, white, black, Asian, and Hispanic. He should be ashamed of himself. Top 5, bottom 5 in the NFL. NFC is absolutely stacked right now with the best teams. I've got the Cardinals as the overall best team. I know they're coming off of a loss against the Packers. I've got the Rams as the second best team. Remember, the Cardinals beat the Rams. That's the only loss the Rams have on the season. Packers in third place. Then I've got the Cowboys, who are 6-1, as the fourth best team. And then I have got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 5. Might have slid the Tennessee Titans in to the top 5 if they had not lost Derrick Henry. Right now, I would say that the sixth best team is the Bills, even though the Titans beat them. And I would say the seventh best team in the NFL is the Titans. That is my NFL Outkick top 5. My bottom 5, the list of sadness. Worst team in the NFL, the winless Detroit Lions. I am sorry, Detroit. You are sitting at 0-8 yet again. Houston Texans, 1-7. I'm going to talk about Deshaun Watson not being traded momentarily. I've got the Dolphins at 1-7 at the 30th best team in the NFL. Also, one-win team. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the 29th best team. And in the 28th spot, I am going to say that the Giants are in the 28th spot. NFL trade deadline. I'm going to scroll through and make sure that I haven't missed any trades that have come out. The NFL trade deadline is going to be happening in about 30 minutes. But the news is Deshaun Watson is not going to end up. Deshaun Watson is reportedly not going to be traded because of all of the legal issues that are out there right now surrounding the Houston Texans quarterback, who hasn't played all year. 22 women have accused him, maybe it's 24, I can't even remember now. Over 20 women have accused him of civil sexual assault, and an additional 10 women have also filed criminal sexual assault claims against him. So there is a lot going on in this situation. It appears that Deshaun Watson is effectively going to sit out for the entire year, and then they will come out at some point and try to trade him at the end of the year. We'll see exactly what ends up happening before all is said and done. All right, scrolling around, it looks like Marlon Mack is going to remain a Colt. Again, scrolling through and looking at the latest moments to make sure that we don't have any major trades that have gone down in the last few minutes. I am just going to scroll through right now while I talk to you guys live, and we will see if any trades have gone through. Appreciate all of you supporting Outkick. How about Michigan State being the most watched college football game of the season? Shout out to my guy Mike Mulvihill, who made the Big Noon Kickoff such a wildly important and successful part of the college football experience. That is worth paying attention to and is pretty interesting. It is election day. I encourage you to get out and vote. Many different news stories to follow here today. We'll be breaking all of you and all of the election results down with you tomorrow. Go Braves, chop on. I appreciate all of you. This has been Outkick the Show. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. Many stories for us to chase, and I'll be all over them. Thank you for watching and supporting